Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Any voice? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, shukran. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa ansarihi wa azwajihi wa dhurriyyatihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this, another of our sittings. As it was advertised by the admins, we shall be covering the Tafseer of Surah Baqarah. It has 286 ayahs, so I will try to cover as many ayahs as possible. I can't cover all 286 in one sitting. This surah was revealed in Medina. A surah is revealed either in Mecca or Medina. A surah is revealed before the Hijrah or after the Hijrah. And this surah has the characteristics of the surahs of Medina because it is long and it contains a lot of Sharia laws like jihad and fasting, zakah, and the Islamic law of inheritance. It contains a lot of Sharia laws, and this is one of the characteristics of the surahs of Medina. However, the surahs of Mecca, they contain a lot of Tawheed, because when you are living in Darul Harb, you invite the people to Tawheed. Mecca was Darul Harb in the time of the Prophet. And when you are living in Darul Islam, you invite the people to Sharia, because they are ready for Sharia. This is why they migrate to the Islamic State. They want Sharia. So the Sunnah of Allah is to invite the people to Tawheed in Dar Harb and to invite the people to Sharia in Darul Islam. This surah, Surah Baqarah, was revealed in Darul Islam. And because it was revealed in Darul Islam, it contains a lot of Sharia laws. It also contains Tawheed, but the majority of the verses have to do with Sharia laws. This surah contains the longest ayah, the ayah that talks about the dain. When you lend the people money, write it down. You may lend a person $500 US dollars, and he said, I only borrowed $50. He forgot a zero. He forgot a zero. He said, I can't remember borrowing $500. I can only remember borrowing $50. So Allah Ta'ala said, whenever you lend money, write it down and always call two witnesses, because people can be very shady in regards to money. The first ayah of Surah Baqarah, Allah Ta'ala said in this ayah, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Mim. This is the first ayah, Alif Lam Mim. Alif is one letter, and Lam is the second letter, and Mim is the third letter. When you say Alif Lam Mim, you get 10 barakah for each letter. You get 10 barakah for each letter. Now, Surah Baqarah, the Prophet said you should use it to drive away the shaitan from the houses. Any home in which Surah Baqarah is recited, the shaitan will not be able to enter that home for 3 days and 3 nights. If you don't know how to recite Surah Baqarah because you do not know Arabic, it is sufficient for you to play Surah Baqarah on your laptop, on your computer. You go to YouTube and you look for a sheikh who recites Surah Baqarah, like Saad al-Ghamdi, my favorite reciter. You can use Sudais. It doesn't matter if he's a government scholar, his recitation can drive away the shaitan. And you play Surah Al Baqarah on the computer to drive away the shaitan from your home. Don't turn your homes into graveyards. Satan runs away from the house in which Surah Al Baqarah is recited. This is how powerful Surah Al Baqarah is. It is used to drive away the shaitan. Now, what is the meaning of Alif Lam Mim? What is the meaning of Alif Lam Mim? These letters are one of the miracles of the Quran, and none but Allah alone knows the meaning. Who said that? Ibn Kathir. Look what Ibn Kathir said. These letters are one of the miracles of the Quran, and none but Allah knows their meanings. Who said that? Ibn Kathir. The translator who translated the Quran, he didn't tell you who said that. So I'm telling you who said it. Ibn Kathir said that in his Tafseer. There are people who say we can unravel the meaning of Alif Lam Mim. They say Alif means Allah. Lam means the angel Gabriel. And Mim means the Prophet Muhammad. The Mu'tazilites, they said we are so intelligent we can unravel the meaning of Alif Lam Mim. Alif means Allah, Lam means the angel Gabriel, and Mim means Muhammad. But they are guessing, they are not sure. The Prophet did not tell us the meaning. The Mu'tazilites, they are the rationalists, and they think they know everything. So of course they are going to give you the interpretation of Alif Lam Mim because they worship the Aql. Alif, Allah, Lam, the angel Gabriel, and Mim means Muhammad. Another group of Mu'tazilites, they said Alif means the Stone Age, Lam means the Middle Age, and Mim means the Modern Age. That is the second tafsir. Alif means the Stone Age, Lam is the Middle Age, and Mim means the Modern Age. That is the second tafsir. When I asked my sheikhs about these Mu'tazilites and their tafsir, you know what they said to me? They have 30 different opinions among themselves. These Mu'tazilites, they are a joker in the pack. They have 30 different opinions among themselves about Alif Lam Mim, and no one is sure who is right and who is wrong. They are guessing. No one is sure who is right and who is wrong. They are only guessing. The rationalists, they think they can use their aql to unravel all the mysteries of the Quran, but it's better for you to take the stance of Ibn Kathir. And what was his stance? These letters are the miracles of the Quran, and no one knows the meaning except Allah. So why did Allah reveal Alif Lam Mim in the Quran if no one knows the meaning of these letters except Allah? That is the question. Why Allah revealed these letters if no one knows the meaning except Allah? They are called the allegorical verses of the Quran. It is to remind you that you don't know everything, to make you humble, to humble you. You may study in an Islamic university for 6 years or 8 years or 10 years, and still you don't know the meaning of Alif Lam Mim. To humble you, to remind you, only Allah knows everything. Now, the doctors who study in Oxford and Cambridge and Harvard and Howard, they like to show off with knowledge. A simple thing like herpes, there is no cure for herpes. The Prophet said, for every disease there's a cure. You, the doctor who graduated from Oxford and Cambridge, what is the cure for herpes? You don't know. So whether you are a sheikh or a doctor, you don't know everything. Only Allah knows everything. A simple disease like herpes, you can't find the cure. and it is very, very contagious. And another disease, the HIV virus. What's the cure? You don't know. You haven't got a clue. And the Prophet said, for every disease there is a cure. Ma anzalallah da illa anzalallahu ashifa. For every da, for every disease there is a shifa, a cure. And you don't know the cure for many, many diseases. Yet you graduated from Oxford with honors as a doctor, top of your class, with honors as a doctor, and you are baffled by a simple virus, the AIDS virus. So stop showing off and behave like you know everything. Only Allah knows everything. Only Allah is what? Al-Alim, the all-knowing, Al-Alim, not you. Allah said, وَمَا عُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. We did not give you knowledge, the ilm, except a little. Allah said, قَلِيلًا. We did not give you knowledge except a little. When Musa was with Al-Khidr, Al-Khidr told Musa, you see that bird that came and dipped its beak in the sea? My knowledge and your knowledge put together is like the bird that dips his beak in the sea, just a little. The water that is on the beak of the bird. The more you know, it's the more you realize that you do not know. And the more you realize that you do not know, it's the more you have the urge to know. And the more you have the urge to know, it's the more you realize the importance of teaching and learning. Second ayah. This is the book in which there is no doubt a guidance for those who are the muttaqeen, the pious. Hudan lil muttaqeen, the God-fearing. Then Allah will tell you who are the God-fearing. Those who fear Allah and abstain from all kinds of sins and evil deeds which He has forbidden, and they love Allah much, perform all the kinds of good deeds which Allah has ordained for them to perform. The Arabic word ذَلِكَ means that, but it is translated as this is the book. Why it is translated as this is the book? Because it's now in your hands, and because it's in your hands and it is near to you, it is translated as this is the book. But the book came down from the heavens, far away from the heavens. So Allah said ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, that book, because it was far away. But because it's now in your hands and you can touch it and feel it, it is translated as this is the book. Not that is the book, this is the book, in which there is absolutely no doubt. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. So if you have the Aqidah of the Shia and claim the Quran is tampered with, the Quran is corrupted, you have left the fold of Islam, because Allah said this book has no doubts. Surah 15 verse 9. The reason why it has no doubts, Allah is protecting the book. If you are a Rafida and you believe that the Quran has been corrupted, you left the fold of Islam, because you don't believe when Allah said this book has no doubts. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And Allah said in Surah 41 verse 42, no batil can come into this book. لا يأتي الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه تنزيل من حكيم حميد. No batil can come into this book. Some kafirs read the Quran and said, we found a scientific error in the Quran. They claim they found a scientific error in the Quran because they read Surah Tariq, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ النَّجْمُ الثَّاقِبِ. the piercing star. Surah Tariq is Surah 86. Now Allah Ta'ala spoke about the man. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانَ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. Surah 86 verse 5 to 7. Surah 86 verse 5 to 7. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانَ مِمَّا خُلِقَ. So let man reflect from what he was created. خُلِقَ مِن مَاءٍ دَافِقٍ. He was created from the water gushing forth. يَخْرُجْ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ. Proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. So the bone is the origin of the sperm. And they said, oh, the Quran is not scientific. The testicles is the origin of the sperm. We found a mistake in the Quran. We found a mistake in the Quran. The Quran is not scientific because the testicles is the origin of the sperm. The kuffar, they say that. And approximately 10 years ago, the scientists discovered that if your bones are healthy, your sperm is healthy, because the bone is the origin of the sperm, not the testicles like you assumed. So when you thought you find a scientific mistake in the Quran, you are the one who is mistaken. The scientists discover healthy bones means you are a healthy man, and if you have healthy bones, your sperm is healthy and you'll be able to impregnate women. But if your bone is not healthy, you can't impregnate women, you are sterile. So you are laughing at the Quran when Allah said, يَخْرُجُ مِن بَيْنِ الصُّلْبِ وَالتَّرَائِبِ, that the sperm comes from the backbone and the ribs. Allah is saying to you that the sperm comes from the backbone and the ribs. And you are laughing, oh, we found a scientific mistake in the Quran. Only to find out that the scientists discovered recently that men with healthy bones, they are the ones who will be able to get women pregnant. Not the man with his feeble bones and bones that are unhealthy. You can't get women pregnant, your bones are feeble and unhealthy. Now, did you find the hujjah? Did you find the link about the bones being connected to the sperm? Because the kuffar, they tried to make a mockery of the Quran. Quran got it right about semen production. Quran got it right about semen production. So you, the infidels, you can't find any scientific error in the Quran. The reason why you think it's an error is because you are not properly educated. And because you are not properly educated, you think that the bone has nothing to do with the sperm. They laugh when the Prophet Muhammad said, if the fly drops in your drink, dip the fly, because one wing has the germ and the other wing has the cure. They laugh at that. Oh, Muhammad, what does he know about science? What does he know about science? Muhammad said, dip the fly in the drink, one wing has the germ and the other wing has the cure. And approximately 5 years ago, they discovered insects, the wings of insects have antibiotics. They are laughing at the Prophet Muhammad. What does he know about science? He was illiterate living in the desert. Then they did a research and found out that insects, the wings of insects, have antibiotics that fight germs. So why are you laughing at the Prophet Muhammad? Don't you know the Prophet Muhammad was inspired by Allah? And if he should make a scientific statement, when you do your research, you have no choice but to confirm that he, Muhammad, was inspired by Allah, because insects, their wings have antibiotics. Who laughed last laughed the best. Don't you know that? So you may laugh at a Quranic verse or laugh at a hadith, and when you go and do your research, you have to come back and admit the Quran was right. You have to swallow your pride and admit Muhammad was right. The wings of insects have antibiotics. I would appreciate if you find that link as well. wings of antibiotics. So the Quran has no rayba. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. This is a book in which there is no doubt, a guidance for those who are God-fearing. Fly hadith, Christian mockery turns to scientific Islamic miracle. Okay, yes. Christian mockery, because the Christians mock the hadith. Christian mockery turns to scientific Islamic miracle. You see that? And every time they mock a hadith or they mock a current verse, it turns out to be one of the miracles of the Quran or a miracle of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The reason why you mock is because you are not properly educated, you are half educated, and you do not know that the wings of insects, they have antibiotics. So stop laughing at the Prophet Muhammad, because he was a real prophet, not a fake prophet, and he was inspired by Allah to say what he had to say. So Allah said, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He, Muhammad, doesn't speak from Hawa. Surah 53, verses 3 to 4. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. He, Muhammad, doesn't speak from desires. He speaks from a wahy, a revelation, which was revealed unto him. So everything he said in the hadith is revelation. Why do you think the hadith can make things fard on you, and the hadith can make things haram for you to do? Because the hadith is wahy. The way the Prophet Muhammad prayed was perfect, and the way he made Hajj was perfect. Why? Because the hadith is wahy. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Surah 53, Surah Najm, verses 3 to 4. Now, wahy, there's no D, wahy, W-A-H. Now, what is taqwa? Abu Hurairah was asked, what is taqwa? He said to the man, have you ever traveled a path with thorns? The man said, yes. Abu Hurairah said, when you saw a thorn, what did you do? He said, I avoid the thorn. I took an evasive action because I fear that the thorn would prick me. Abu Hurairah said, that is what taqwa is. When you see haram, you avoid the haram because you don't want to be affected by the haram. That is taqwa. Taqwa is translated to be pious and God-fearing. When Ibn Taymiyyah was asked what is taqwa, Ibn Taymiyyah said, taqwa an taj'al baynaka wa bayna adhab Allah wiqaya bimtithal al-awamir wajtinab an-nawahi, to place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing what is fard and by abstaining from what is haram. That is taqwa. To place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing what is fard and by abstaining from what is haram. This was the definition given to us by Ibn Taymiyyah for taqwa. Now, taqwa, how do you accomplish taqwa? What is the road to taqwa? Where is the notes? The road to taqwa is to keep company with pious people. The Prophet said, a man belongs to the religion of his friend. To place between yourself and the wrath of Allah a barrier by doing the fard and by abstaining from the haram. That is Ibn Taymiyyah's definition. By doing the fard and by abstaining from that which is haram. The road to taqwa. What's the road to taqwa? The next chapter in bold writing, the road to taqwa. The road to taqwa is to keep company with pious people. That is the first step to taqwa. Because the Prophet said, a man belongs to the religion of his friend. So choose carefully who you have as a friend. On Judgment Day, You will cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhid fulanan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I did not choose such and such a person for my friend. You'll cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhid fulanan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I never choose such and such a person for my friend. Allah also told you on the day of judgment, man will become enemies at each other's throat except the pious. Ya waylata, Surah 25, verse 28. Surah 25, verse 28. You will cry out, I wish I never had that man as a friend. Then Allah told you, on the day of judgment, friends will become enemies at each other's throat except the pious ones. Surah 43, verse 67. Al-akhilla yawma idhin ba'duhum li ba'd adu illa al-muttaqin. Friends will become enemies at each other's throat on the day of judgment except al-muttaqin, the pious ones. You're going to blame each other for the haram you did. You're going to say, you invited me to drink and to go to nightclubs and to take drugs and to dabble in this and dabble in that. You're going to blame each other. And you caused me to be in the hellfire. You with your evil self seduced me with your haram activities. Friends will become enemies at each other's throat on the day of judgment except al-muttaqun. A man will cry out, Ya waylata laytani lam attakhidh fulan khalila. Woe be unto me, I wish I didn't choose that man as a friend. Then the Prophet said, a man belongs to the religion of his friend, so choose carefully who you have as a friend. The first rule to taqwa is to have pious people as your friend. The second rule to taqwa is to attend a study circle once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week with an upright person to teach you the deen. Because of the hadith, everything in the dunya is cursed except 3. To attend a study circle once or 2 times or 3 times a week to learn your deen. Because the Prophet said, the dunya is cursed, everything in this dunya is cursed except 3 things. Dhikrullah, a scholar of Islam, and a student of that scholar. So if you're not a scholar of Islam, and you are not a student of a scholar, you are not a pupil of a scholar, then you are a cursed human being. The dunya and what it contains is cursed. Except 3 things. The other road to taqwa is to have a library at your home with books and CDs and DVDs, and you continue to learn your deen regularly. Have a library at home with books and CDs and DVDs and learn your deen on a regular basis. You don't even need to pile up your houses with CDs and DVDs. Everything is on YouTube these days. Everything these days is on YouTube. You don't have to pile up your home with many things. Everything these days is on YouTube. The other road to taqwa is to keep up your prayers, because the Prophet said, when you pray 5 times a day, it's like a man who has a brook, a spring outside his door, and he washed in it 5 times a day. No germs will be left on his body. The 5-day prayers, this is a similitude of the 5-day prayers. You keep up your prayers. Because Allah said the prayers prevent you from fahsha and munkar. Surah Ankabut. Surah Ankabut is Surah 29. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha wal munkar wala dhikrullah akbar. Verily, the salah prevents you from fahsha and munkar. Surah 29, verse 45. Surah 29, verse 45. The salah prevents you from fahsha, which is illegal intercourse, and munkar. I only want where it says, verily, the salah prevents you from fasha and munkar, and the remembrance of Allah in front of the angels is greater indeed. So to keep up your prayers is the other road to taqwa. The other road to taqwa is to go to Salatul Jummah at a masjid, this is number 5, to listen to a khutbah that inspires you. Avoid the masjids of the hypocrites who preach democracy. Avoid the masjids who preach kufr, shirk, and zandaka. Go to Salatul Jummah to listen to a khutbah that inspires you. And avoid the masjids that the khutbah puts you to sleep. Many of you said, Sheikh Faisal, what you are preaching is not practical. In my country, there is no such masjid. All the masjids preach democracy. Many people say that to me. Sheikh Faisal, what you are describing to me is not a reality, it's a fantasy, because all the imams in my country are paid scholars, and they preach for the Taghut, and they preach democracy from the mimbar. So what you are preaching is a fantasy, not a reality. Many of you say that to me. Now, why don't you establish your own Salatul Jummah? Abu Hanifa said you need 3 people for the Salatul Jummah to be accepted. Imam Shafi said you need 40 people for Salatul Jummah. The correct opinion is the opinion of Abu Hanifa. All you need is 3 people for Salatul Jummah to be accepted. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. The other route to taqwa is to join the caravan. Number 6. Join the caravan. Join the caravan means to be with the mujahideen. The 6, join the caravan means to be with the mujahideen. Because then you become the Ta'if Mansura, the aided and victorious group, the cream of the crop. The mujahideen, they are the cream of the crop, because the Prophet said, the peak of the matter is jihad. The peak of the matter is jihad. Hudan lil muttaqeen. Now, the Quran is a guidance for the pious. So if you are a kafir studying Islam, you won't benefit from the Quran because you aren't pious. You are studying Islam for the wrong reasons. You are an Orientalist. You study Islam to attack it, not to benefit, to attack it. So there are a lot of kafirs who study Islam in Oxford and Cambridge, Harvard and Howard, and Yale. Yasser Qadi said he studied Islam in Yale, and when the kuffar taught him Islam, he has doubts about Islam. When you study Islam in Yale and the Freemasons, they are your teachers. If you write your thesis, your dissertation, and you come across as a strong Muslim, you fail. They won't give you the PhD. But if you express doubts about Islam and you have convinced them that you have lost your faith, then they'll give you the PhD. That's what they did to Yasser Qadi. He said, when I studied Islam at Yale, I have doubts about Islam. My aqidah is so messed up. I am ashamed to tell people what I believe. He said that. After studying Islam with the kuffar, even Tony Blair was in his classroom. Tony Blair. After studying Islam with the kuffar at Yale, I have lost my faith. I don't have conviction anymore. I have doubts about Islam. My aqidah is so messed up. I am ashamed for people to find out what I believe. This is what Yasser Qadi said. Maybe you can find the link where he said it, just in case you think I am lying and making up stories. So Allah Ta'ala said, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the book in which there is no doubt, a guidance for who? The muttaqeen. So you, the kafir, who you are not circumcised, you don't make istinja, you don't pray. You're not going to benefit from the Quran because you are not of the muttaqeen. The Quran is here to benefit al-muttaqeen. Okay, thank you for finding the hadith about the river in front of your gate. If you wash in it 5 times a day, no germs will be left on you. This is the importance of the salah. Inna salata tanha anil fahsha wal munkar. The salah prevents you from fahsha, indecent intercourse, and munkar, all types of wicked deeds. Surah Al-Ankabut, verse 45. The Quran is a guidance for the muttaqeen, those who are God-fearing, not for the munafiqeen and the kafirin. Those who believe in the unseen and perform salah and spend out of what we have provided for them. That is, they give zakah. They spend on themselves and their parents, their children, their wives. And also give charity to the poor and also in Allah's cause, which is jihad fi sabilillah. Ayah number 3. So what is the ghaib? Because one of the characteristics of the muttaqin is that they believe in the ghaib. G-H-A-I-B. The ghaib is the unseen. Allah is al-ghaib. You have never seen Allah. And the angel is al-ghaib. Now, can you see angel? Of course you can see angels. If they come in the form of men and help you on the battlefield, you can see them. The jinn is al-ghaib. Can you see jinn? Of course. If they take the form of men, you can see them. Can you see Allah? No, you can't see Allah. Allah doesn't take the form of man. Don't be like the Nation of Islam. When Farrakhan speaks, he says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. That is crap. That is crap. Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. This Master Farad Muhammad that you're talking about, he was a white man and he peddled drugs in California and he got arrested. They took his fingerprints and they took his photograph and he was given 3-year imprisonment. How can you take the fingerprint of Allah and take the photograph of Allah and dump Allah in prison for 3 years for peddling drugs in California? You see how ridiculous these people are, Nation of Islam? What do you mean Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad? That is crap. Aren't you ashamed of believing these things? To make matters worse, you say that the white man was created in the science lab by a mad scientist. Allah is the only creator. Allah said the greatest scientist can't even create a housefly. Surah 22 verse 73. The greatest scientist can't even create a housefly. So if the greatest scientist can't even create a housefly, why you said that the white man was created in the science lab by a mad scientist called Yaqub? So you are saying that there are other creators beside Allah. That is kufr. The Nation of Islam will never debate because they know that they can be easily checkmated. This ayah is used to checkmate the Nation of Islam. The greatest scientist can't even create a housefly. Yet you are trying to say the white man was created by a mad scientist. If you can't create a fly, how can you create a man? And you are claiming that Allah appeared on earth in the form of a man, Master Farad Muhammad. But Allah said it is not for him to speak to anyone except from behind a veil. It is not for Allah Ta'ala for him to speak to anyone. مَا كَانَ لِبَشْرٍ أَن يُكَلِّمَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا وَحْيًا. It's not befitting of man that Allah Ta'ala should speak to him except by wahy, inspiration, or from behind a veil. Or he sends an angel to reveal unto man what he wants man to know. But as for Allah coming down on earth in the form of a man, it never happened and it will never happen. Surah 42 verse 51. This is another ayah you use against the Nation of Islam. Surah 42 verse 51. This is called the knockout punch against the Nation of Islam. Look at the ayah. It is not given to any human being that Allah should speak to him except by inspiration or from behind a veil, the way he spoke to Muhammad from behind a veil, which is light. Allah spoke to Musa from behind a veil, which is the light. Allah's veil is light. Or that he sends a messenger, which is the angel, to reveal to man what he wants man to know. But as for Allah coming down on earth in the form of a man to speak to man, it never happened and it will never happen. There is no such thing called a man God. The Christians, they started that rubbish. Jesus is a man God. Jesus is God in flesh. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among men. So Jesus was the man God, God in flesh. Then the Nation of Islam, they copied the Christians and they said, Master Farad Muhammad, that is the man God, God in flesh. Then the Alawites of Syria, they said, Ali, that is the man God, God in flesh. Ali ibn Abi Talib, that is God. Ali is God, God in flesh. So the Christians said Jesus is God. The Shia said Ali is God, God in flesh. And the NOI said Master Farad Muhammad, that is God, the man God. There is no such thing called the man God. Look at the ayah, which is called the knockout punch against the Nation of Islam. Surah 42 verse 51. It's not given to human being that Allah should speak to him except by inspiration, wahy, or from behind a veil, or Allah sends an angel to reveal unto man what he wants man to know. But as for Allah coming down on earth in the form of a man to speak to man, it never happened and it will never happen. So Allah is Al-Ghaib. The Prophet Muhammad is Al-Ghaib for us. Because he said, I can't wait to be with my brothers. The Sahaba said, what do you mean by that? Aren't we supposed to be your brothers? The Prophet said, no, you're not my brothers. You are my Sahabas, my companions. My brothers are Muslims who come after me. They never met me, but they believe in me and they died believing in me. They are my brothers. People like you. You never met the Prophet, but you believe in him. The Prophet said, you are my brothers, my real brothers. The Sahabas were shocked. They said to the Prophet, aren't we your brothers? The Rasul said, no, you are my companions. My brothers are Muslims who come after me. They never met me, but they believe in me. They are my brothers. Because the Prophet is Al-Ghaib. Even Jesus is Al-Ghaib. Moses and Abraham, they are Al-Ghaib. All the prophets for us, they are Al-Ghaib. We never met any of them. They are Al-Ghaib. Al-Ghaib means the unseen. When you will die, that is Al-Ghaib. What is in the womb of the mother, whether the child will be rich or poor, happy or unhappy. A Muslim child, when the child grows up, or a Kafir child, that is Al-Ghaib. When Al-Khidr met Musa, and he said, take me on as your student, because Allah said, you have more knowledge than me. Al-Khidr said, Innaka lan tastati ma'i sabra. You can't have sabr with me, no patience with me. How can you have sabr with something you don't understand? He begged him and begged him and begged him until he took him on as a student. I take you on, but don't ask me why whenever I do anything. Don't say why. Don't ask me why. The first thing Al-Khidr did was to bore a hole in the boat. Musa couldn't understand why you damaged the people's boat, because that's Al-Ghaib. He didn't know that a king is coming who sees all the boats, because the king was a tyrant. But by damaging the boat, the king won't take the boat. I don't want any damaged boat. You can keep your boat. That's al-ghayb. Secondly, he killed a boy. The boy didn't even reach puberty. And Musa said, why you kill the boy? The boy didn't do anything wrong. He's innocent. He said, didn't you make me a promise you won't ask me why? He couldn't get along with Al-Khidr because Al-Khidr, Allah gave him a peep into the future. He had some knowledge of Al-Ghayb. Musa didn't have that knowledge. He didn't know that the boy, he's a sweet, innocent boy. Look at the boy, so sweet, so innocent. Because he has not yet reached puberty. So he still has his innocence. But when he reaches puberty, he's going to become a kafir. And he'll be a fitna for his parents. Even his parents, he will turn into kuffar like himself. That is al-ghayb. Musa couldn't understand what Al-Khidr was doing because he didn't have the knowledge of Al-Ghayb that Allah gave to Al-Khidr. So they were always arguing on the journey. How on earth can you have sabr with something you don't understand? It's not possible. It's not possible. You will only have sabr with something that you understand. If you see me drinking what looks like alcohol, you can't understand. It's a beer bottle. The bottle is a beer bottle. It has 9 or 11% alcohol. That's haram. The scholars, they only give you 3%. Only 3% you are allowed to get away with. Uthaymeen passed the fatwa, 3%. And if it is perfume that you spray on your body, then you can use 5% alcohol perfume. That's for perfume. You don't have to throw away your perfume with alcohol. If it's 5% and under, you can use it. And if it's beer, 3%. Add in the past the photo with it, 3%. If it is beer, then you did not do haram. Perfume that you put on your body, if the alcohol is 5% and under, you can use a perfume. Non-alcoholic beer, if it is 3% and under, then you can drink it. You saw me drinking something that has 9% alcohol, way above the mark. You said, you are supposed to be a sheikh. Why are you drinking that? And then I say to you, it's not alcohol inside, it's medicine. Herbal medicine. Somebody boiled the medicine and poured it in the bottle. Then you will understand. But before I explain to you, you can't understand. As far as you're concerned, SKHFSl is drinking alcohol. You can't cope with that. This is why Al-Khidr said, you are begging me to take you on as your student, but how can you have sabr with something you don't understand? You're not going to understand. Allah gave me a peep into the ghaib, the unseen. You don't have that knowledge. That knowledge is exclusive to me. This is why Allah told you there is a man out there who has more knowledge than you, Musa. Not you. Somebody out there with more knowledge than you. You are delusional to think that you have more knowledge than everybody else in the dunya. Al-Khidr has more knowledge than you because I gave him a peep into the future in regards to Al-Ghayb. And he sacked him. He fired him as his student. You are fired. You are fired. Because he asked him he said a third thing. They went into a land, the people were not hospitable. They didn't give them food nor water to drink, nothing. A wall came tumbling down and he put the wall back straight and he said, why don't you charge them money for putting the wall back straight? So that's it, you're fired. I put the wall back straight because underneath the wall was treasures belonging to orphans. If I didn't put the wall straight, their wealth will be exposed and these people would rob the orphans. They are evil people. They didn't give us food and water. They didn't entertain their guests. These are evil people, pagans. So they wouldn't think twice about robbing the orphan. They are heartless and cruel. So I had no choice but to put the wall back straight to hide the treasures of the orphans. The 2 orphan boys. That's it, Musa, you are fired. The Prophet Muhammad said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if Musa had sabr with Al-Khidr, we would have learned many things from Al-Khidr. Many things. But because he had no sabr, we only learned 3 things from Al-Khidr. His vast knowledge. The Prophet said sabr is illumination. As-sabr diya. And when you want to learn a lesson in sabr, go and read the story of Yusuf. Go and read the story of Yusuf if you want to learn sabr. Allah Ta'ala said, this is the book in which there is no doubt a guidance for the muttaqin. How can you tell when you are guided? The $1 million question, how can you tell when you are guided? That is a $1 million question. You are guided if you have 3 things right. Your aqidah has to be right. Aqidah means your creed has to be right. If you believe Allah is everywhere, your aqidah is shady. Allah is not everywhere in person because Allah is not in the brothel or the pigsty or the disco. Allah's knowledge is everywhere. His knowledge is everywhere. But Allah is not everywhere in person. Do you know why the Sufis are keen to say Allah is everywhere? Because they preach wahdatul wujud. Wahdatul wujud translated as union. I can become so pious until I become one with Allah. And when I become one with Allah, I don't have to pray anymore because I am Allah. I put it to you, go and have a conversation with a Sufi and ask him where is Allah, and he'll tell you Allah is everywhere, and he is very enthusiastic and zealous to convince you that Allah is everywhere, because every Sufi believes in wahdatul wujud. A man can become so pious until he becomes Allah. The whole purpose of practicing Sufism is to accomplish wahdatul wujud. That's the reason they practice Sufism. Even the Tablighi Jama'ah believe in wahdatul wujud. I was in a masjid in South Africa, and the Tablighi Jama'ah arrived in the masjid, and I heard them giving a bayan. And when they spoke about Ibn Arabi, they say, Rahimahullah. Ibn Arabi was the worst kafir to walk earth. So why you are saying Rahimahullah, Ibn Arabi? Because they believe in the teachings of Ibn Arabi. He was the first person to promote Wahdatul Wujud, that a man can become so pious until he unites and become one with Allah. The unification between the Creator and the creation. Ibn Arabi, he introduced that type of belief to the Ummah of Muhammad. I put it to you, every single Sufi believes Allah is everywhere, because they need to believe Allah is everywhere so that Wahdatul Wujud can be accomplished. If they believe Allah is above the arsh, then they claim that Wahdatul Wujud cannot take place. When you say Allah is above the arsh, they say you are putting a limit on Allah. Who are you to put a limit on Allah? The other people who believe Allah is everywhere is the Kabbalah, the Jewish black magic, Kabbalah. They preach Allah is everywhere as well. Allah is not in heaven. That is Christianity. Allah does not build a place and live inside of the place. Men do that because we need a roof over our head. So where is Allah? Allah is above the heavens. Allah doesn't dwell inside His creation. It is kufr to believe that Allah dwells inside His creation. Allah dwells outside His creation. Allah is above the heavens, not inside heaven. And He is not everywhere. That is Judaism, the Kabbalah, the Jewish black magic. They say Allah is everywhere. You are guided if your aqidah is right and if your fiqh is right. Your fiqh has to be right. The fiqh means the Islamic jurisprudence. So if you say, I can marry a girl for 1 hour, that's the Shiites, they believe that. I can marry a girl for 1 hour. It's called muta. Your fiqh isn't right. One day I said to a Shiite, oh, you believe in muta. Why don't you allow me to marry your daughter for 1 hour? People said, Sheikh Faisal, you are too harsh with him. How am I too harsh with him? He comes debating on Pal Talk, promoting muta. I said, can I have your daughter for 1 hour? He said, Sheikh Faisal, you are too frank and too harsh with him. But the man is preaching muta. Why can't I marry his daughter for 1 hour? Okay, if he doesn't want me to marry his daughter for 1 hour, why he wants to marry somebody else's daughter for 1 hour? Didn't the Prophet said, you should love for your brother what you love for yourself? You see how easy it is to checkmate a Shia? If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And when you say your imams have knowledge of ilm al-ghayb, knowledge of the unseen, my imams have knowledge of ilm al-ghayb, knowledge of the unseen. They know the hidden, what is in the future. They know the unseen. Nothing is hidden from them. Who was the first imam? Ali. The second, Hassan. The third, Hussein. How did Hassan die? He was poisoned by his enemies. Hassan was poisoned by his enemies. If Hassan was poisoned, why he ate a plate of food with poison if he had knowledge of the ghaib? This means Hassan committed suicide. That is the knockout punch against the shady Shia. Your imam is Hassan, and he has knowledge of the ghaib, the unseen. He ate a plate of food that contains poison, even though he had knowledge of the ghaib. This means Hassan committed suicide. When you say that to a Shia, they become red in the face because it is called checkmate. How to checkmate a Shia? If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you come to debate, expect to be checkmated and humiliated with your shady and dodgy aqidah. Allah is al-ghayb, but from the al-ghayb, the unseen, the most difficult thing Allah is asking you to believe in is not Him, Allah. The most difficult thing Allah is asking you to believe in is the hellfire. Many people can't cope with that. The Jehovah's Witness, they don't believe in the hellfire, but they believe in Allah. The Jehovah's Witness believe in Allah. Do they believe in hellfire? No, they don't. So the hardest thing from al-ghayb Allah is asking you to believe in is not to believe in Him, Allah. That is easy. To believe in Allah is very, very easy. Even the Christian Arabs, they say Allah. If you should Google the Bible, Luke 6 verse 12, in Arabic, the Christians in their Bible, they say Allah. The Christians in Indonesia and Malaysia, in their churches, they say Allah. To believe in Allah is very easy. What is difficult is to believe in the hellfire. This is why the Jehovah's Witness, they believe in Allah, but they don't believe in the hellfire. They said, when you go to your grave, that's the hell. There's no other hell. So this ghaib is difficult for people to believe in. But your common sense tells you that there is paradise and hell. Because Jesus and Hitler, how can they end up in the same place with the same destiny? Your brain doesn't accept that. Hitler and Jesus end up in the same place. Your brain doesn't accept that. You know, the Sufis, you know, they say you can't ask a person where is Allah, it is bid'ah. It is bid'ah to ask a person where is Allah. So why the Prophet asked the slave girl, where is Allah? Who told you it is bid'ah to ask a person where is Allah? The Prophet did it. He asked the slave girl, where is Allah? And when she said fis sama, above the sky, he told the master, set this girl free because she's a believer. We continue our tafsir. The third thing that determines that you are on true guidance is that your manhaj is correct. The manhaj is the methodology. So you need to have your aqidah right, your fiqh right, and your manhaj has to be right. The manhaj is your methodology of establishing the Islamic State. Now some people say the manhaj is the ballot, and some say the manhaj is the bullet. You make up your mind which manhaj is correct. Because there are two manhaj, the bullet and the ballot. You tried the ballot in Algeria, you got a kick in the teeth. You tried the ballot in Egypt in the year 2013 with Mursi, and you got another kick in the teeth. Every time you try the ballot, you get a big kick in the teeth. You won the election, yes, in Egypt, but the army came in and toppled you. You spent millions of dollars to campaign in a democratic election, and the army came and forced you from power. You waste your money. Why didn't you use the money to buy bullets? The manhaj is not the bullet, the manhaj is the bullet. The Prophet said a believer is not bitten in the same hole twice. So why did you get bitten in the same hole twice? This means you are not a believer. The Prophet said in a famous hadith, no believer is bitten in the same hole twice. So why you got bitten in the same hole twice? Something is wrong with you. You're not a believer. And don't call yourself Ikhwan al-Muslimin. You believe in democracy, so don't call yourself Ikhwan al-Muslimin. You are Ikhwan al-Shayateen. If you believe in democracy, you are what? Ikhwan al-Shayateen, not Ikhwan al-Muslimin. So stop calling yourself Ikhwan al-Muslimin. Don't try to pull a wool over our eyes. We are not imbecile. You can pull a wool over our eyes. You can only pull a wool over the eyes of people who don't understand Tawheed, Kufr bi-Taghut, and Al-Wala wal-Bara. No believer is bitten in the same hole twice. Those who believe in the ghaib and they perform the salah and they spend from what we provide for them, which is the zakah. If you don't pay your zakah, the Rasul said, male snakes will bite you in your grave. Your wealth will become snakes biting you in your grave, entangled around your necks. The same ayah 3. So when Allah said you spend from what we provide for you, Allah meant the zakah, ayah 3. So bring the hadith about the male snakes biting you with black spots. Biting who? The people who didn't pay the zakah. Zakah is the third pillar of Islam. Abu Bakr Siddiq fought and killed those who didn't pay the zakah. Okay, thank you for the hadith about the black spots, male snakes biting you in your grave because you didn't pay the zakah. Zakah is the third pillar of Islam. Abu Bakr Siddiq killed people who didn't pay zakah. He killed them as kuffar. When he fought them as kuffar, they called the war against the apostates, Hurub al-Ridda. War against the apostates. The war Abu Bakr fought when he killed those who didn't pay the zakah. So who told you in Islam we don't kill apostates? You see how ridiculous some people are? The Prophet said, follow my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided caliphs, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. The first caliph killed people who didn't pay the zakah. And they were killed as apostates. So who told you in Islam we don't kill apostates? Where did they get that from? Who is teaching you your deen? Haven't you read the Quran, Surah Nisa? Allah said, but if they turn back from their deen, kill them. Surah Nisa, verse 89. It's a long ayah, bring me the peace I asked for. But if they turn back from Islam, kill them wherever you find them. Nisa 89. And Abu Bakr Siddiq killed apostates. Something that you already know, I'm only here to remind you. All of you know the hadith about Abu Bakr Siddiq killing apostates, the people who refuse to pay the zakah. Then I brought you the Quran, but if they turn back from Islam, kill them wherever you find them. But this can only be done in the Islamic states. There are thousands of apostates in Europe and America, and you can't touch them. You know why? Europe is not an Islamic state. America is not an Islamic state. You can't touch them. The kuffar would like you to touch them so that they can lock you up in prison and throw away the key. People go to Europe and America to apostate from Islam. That's why they went there in the first place, to apostate. Because they know you can't touch them. They are in Darul Harb, and the Taghut is protecting them. So when you read this Quranic verse, those who apostate, kill them wherever you find them. Don't you entertain the idea that you can kill them in Darul Harb. This ayah is only for Darul Islam, not for Darul Harb, the land of the enemy. Those who went there to apostate, as far as they are concerned, they are in paradise. They can even insult Allah and His Rasul, and you can't touch him, because the Taghut is protecting him. He is under the protection of the Taghut. The tyrant is the Taghut. We continue our dars, ayah 6. Ayah 4. Ayah 4. And who believe in that which came down to you, the Quran and the Sunnah, and that which was sent down before your time, which is the Torah and the Injil, and they believe with certainty in the hereafter, the paradise and hellfire. They are on true guidance from their Lord, and they are the successful ones. Ayah 5 as well. It's a follow-on. So we believe in the Quran because it came down to Muhammad, and we believe in what came down before Muhammad, the Torah and the Injil. We believe in the original Torah and the original Injil. Do we believe in the Bible? We believe in the truth of the Bible. I'm going to give you a Bible verse that every Muslim believes in. Numbers, N-U-M-B, Numbers 23, verse 19. Look at that Bible verse. Numbers 23, 19. Don't we believe in that? Every Muslim believes in that. I'm quoting from the Bible. Numbers 23, verse 19. God is not a man that he should lie. And God is not the son of a man. God doesn't repent. If a person asks you, do you believe in the Bible? You said, yes, we believe in the truth of the Bible. We don't believe in the Bible in its totality. We believe in the truth of the Bible. Look at the Bible verse. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. God doesn't repent. Every Muslim believes in that Bible verse because it agrees with the Holy Quran. I give you another Bible verse that we believe in. John 30 verse 5. John 5, I think John 5 verse 30. Or even John 5 37. John 5 37, we believe in that. I can of my own self do nothing. Jesus said, I can't do nothing of my own self. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. We believe in that. Jesus cannot do anything of himself. Only God has the power. He has no authority to do anything. Look at 37. And the Father himself which has sent me have borne witness of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. You have never heard the voice of God at any time, nor seen his form, his shape. We believe in that as well. You have never seen God, you have never heard his voice. You are not prophets. You my disciples, you did not hear the voice of God. Because I, Jesus, am not God. I, Jesus, I'm not God. And because I'm not God, you have never heard the voice of God at any time, nor seen his form. So why, if you the Christians are aware of these verses, why you say Jesus is God? That means you're lying to the people. So if you are asked the question, do you believe in God? You say, yes, we believe in God. Do you believe in the Bible? Yes, we believe in the truth of the Bible. Not all of the Bible. We believe in the truth of the Bible. Because the Bible has mistakes. Mistakes that are embarrassing mistakes. I give an example. Genesis 6, verse 6. It says, God repented, he made man. How can God make Tawbah? You are contradicting yourself, because in one verse you said God doesn't repent because he's not a man. Then in the book of Genesis 6 verse 6 you said God repented, he made man, and he was hurt in his heart. Do you see this embarrassing contradiction? So we believe in the truth of the Bible, not the entire Bible. The reason for it, and the Torah, we believe in the truth of the Torah, not the entire Torah. Because when Omar was reading the Torah, the Prophet became angry. And the Prophet said, if my brother Musa was alive, he would have no choice but to follow me. If my brother Musa was alive, he would have no choice except to follow me. Therefore, the Prophet became angry when he saw Omar reading the Torah. He didn't want people to think the Torah is the Haqq. This is why he became angry with Omar. He didn't want people to believe the Torah was the Haqq. Okay, find the hadith. It's in the book. If my brother Musa was alive, he would have no choice but to follow me. This hadith can be found in Ahmad and Ad-Darimi. Ahmad and Ad-Darimi. Verily, those who disbelieve, it is the same to them. Whether you warn them or do not warn them, they'll never believe. Ayah 6. Allah is speaking about some people, not every kafir. Allah is speaking about a particular type of kafir. Which one? The one whose heart is sealed. The one whose heart is sealed. He is the kafir Allah is speaking about. How can you tell when a person's heart is sealed? If he is rebellious to the truth, then his heart is sealed, and you should shun him, leave him alone. You're trying to give him the dawah, and his heart is sealed. You are throwing away silver and gold to the swine. You are wasting your time, and he doesn't worth a dime. That's what you're doing. And Allah said, فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَ. Give the admonition if it benefits the person. If you come across a hardcore atheist and everything you say he rebels against it, don't give him the dawah. You're wasting your time. And the wasters are the brothers of the shaitan. Why are you wasting your time? Time is money, and money is time. You are the brother of the shaitan if you waste your time. The wasters are the brothers of the shaitan. So a person's heart is sealed when he is rebellious to the haqq. You are only allowed to give dawah to a person who is interested, not the person who is proud, arrogant, and haughty, ostentatious. You are only allowed to give dawah to the person who shows interest in the haqq, not the person who is rebellious to the haqq. You need to respect yourself. If you really respect yourself, you wouldn't be wasting your time with someone who is not worth it. So Allah said, as for those who disbelieve, whether you warn them or do not warn them, they will not believe. Ayah 7 is a follow-on from Ayah 6. ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم. Allah has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearing. They are closed from accepting Allah's guidance, and on their eyes there is a covering. Theirs will be a great torment. So Allah said, these people, whether you warn them or do not warn them, they will not believe. Who are they? The people whose hearts are sealed. And of mankind there are some hypocrites who say they believe in Allah and the last day, but they don't believe. Now Allah Ta'ala spoke about the people who are blind, that the real blind man is the man who is blind in the heart. Surah 22 verse 46. Allah said in Surah 22 verse 46, the real blind man is the man who is blind in his heart. There are many blind Muslims. How did they see the haqq? They are blind, so how did they see the haqq? They use their heart to see the haqq. The real blind man, Allah said, is the man who is blind in his heart, not the man who is blind in his eyes. Because Abdullah ibn Maktoum was a blind Sahaba. When he came to the Prophet to learn the deen, the Prophet frowned and turned away, and Allah corrected him in Surah 80. Abasa wa tawalla an ja'ahu al-a'ma. He frowned and turned away because the blind man came to him. The blind man took his shahada. Why he took his shahada? He was blind in the eyes, not in his heart. So the real blind man is the man who is blind in his heart, because if you are blind in your heart, you are finished beyond repair. You are a hopeless case. One day the Prophet was marching to the battlefield, and a blind hypocrite heard their voices and realized that they were Muslims, and he started to throw dust in their faces. The Sahabas jumped to chop off his head, and the Prophet said, leave him alone, because he is not blind in his eyes alone, he is also blind in his heart. Leave him to his own demise, he is blind in his heart. They were marching to the battlefield, and the blind hypocrite heard their voices and realized they were Muslims. He started to throw dust in their faces. The Sahabas rushed to chop off his head. The Prophet said, leave him alone, he is blind in his heart. He is finished, he is blind in his heart. Not only is he blind in his eyes, he is also blind in his heart. And the Sahabas didn't bother to chop off his head. And of mankind there are some who claim they believe in Allah and the last day, while in fact they don't believe. They think they can deceive Allah and those who believe, while they only deceive themselves and perceive not. Ayah 8 and 9. The signs of a hypocrite are four: when he speaks, he lies; when he makes a promise, he breaks it; when he is entrusted, he proves treacherous; and when he disputes, he slanders. The signs of a munafiq are four: when he speaks, he lies; when he makes a promise, he breaks it; when he is entrusted, he proves treacherous; and when he debates, he slanders. He deviates from the truth. The hypocrite has many more signs, over 50. I can't afford to mention all of them, but another sign is that he speaks with oxymorons. An oxymoron is when you put two words in a sentence but they can't come together in the sentence because they contradict each other. So you say, I am an agnostic Muslim. You can't be an agnostic Muslim. That is oxymoron. Or he say, I am a non-practicing Muslim. Another oxymoron. He's trying to put two words in the same sentence but they can't come together because they contradict each other. In Russia, they have an oxymoron, halal pork. If you say halal pork, that means you are taking the piss. How can pork be halal? That's an oxymoron. Or they say Islamic democracy. I believe in democracy, but you don't understand. I believe in Islamic democracy. All these things are called oxymorons. When a person is a munafiq, he speaks with oxymorons. The signs of a munafiq are many. I don't have time to mention all of them. Another sign is that he asks questions only Allah knows the answer, because he is looking for a reason to apostate. When he comes to a dars to ask the sheikh a question, he makes sure he asks questions only Allah can answer the question, because he is looking for a reason to apostate. He has doubts. The other sign of a munafiq, he highlights the negative aspects of Islamic history and ignores the positive aspects. The munafiq, the hypocrite, he highlights the negative aspects of Islamic history and ignores the positive aspects. Ayah 10. In their heart is a disease, and Allah has increased their disease. A painful torment is theirs because they used to tell lies. Ayah 10. So the disease that Allah is speaking about is the disease of hypocrisy and doubts. The disease Allah is speaking about is doubts. When a person is a munafiq, it's very easy to tell, because when he speaks, you can hear the doubts. He doubts his faith. Surah Muhammad verse 30, Surah 47 verse 30. What did Allah tell you in Surah Muhammad verse 30? When the munafiq speaks, he exposes himself. He tells on himself. So he tries to deceive Allah and those who believe, but he deceives only himself and realizes it not, because when he speaks, he exposes himself. Ayah 11. And when it is said unto them, make not mischief on earth, they say, we are only peacemakers. 11 and 12. Verily they are the mischief makers, and they realize it not. The hypocrites of Medina, they had two study circles. They used to sit and listen to the Prophet. And then they sit and listen to the Jewish rabbis. And then they said, Muhammad, I was with him yesterday and he said this about you. Then he would go back to Muhammad. 2 days ago, I sat with a Jewish rabbi and he said this about you. They carry news backward and forward. When they were told to stop making mischief, they said, we are the peacemakers. We are trying to find the common ground between the two great religions, Islam and Judaism. That was their excuse. We carry news backward and forward between the Jewish community and the Muslim community because we are trying to find the common ground between the two great religions, Islam and Judaism. So when they were told to stop spreading mischief on the earth, they said, we are not spreading mischief, we are peacemakers. We are not mischief makers, we are peacemakers. Allah said, they are the mischief makers, but they perceive not. The colonialists, whether it's the Spanish, the British, the French, the Dutch, the Portuguese, they spread mischief on the earth because when they give you independence, they leave behind a fitna. You see that massacre taking place in Syria. The French orchestrated the massacre. In 1948, when they gave independence to the Syrians, they put the Rafida in power. And they put the worst type of Rafida in power. Those who believe Ali is Allah, Ali is divine. Why the French did that? Because they know one day the Sunnis will rise up to top of the Rafida. And when the Sunnis rise up to top of the Rafida, there will be a massacre of at least 1 million souls. There will be a massacre of at least 1 million souls. Look at the French, the British, the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Spanish. When they give you independence, they leave behind a fitna for you to fight between yourselves until eternity. And they claim that they are the peacemakers. We come to make peace between the nations. Allah said they are the mischief makers, but they realize it not. That's a sign of a munafiq. He likes to stir up fitna. He always it's called fanning the flames of fitna. The kuffar, who are hypocrites, they like to do what? Fanning the flames of fitna. Then they claim we are the civilized countries of the West. We are here to make peace. And they are the mischief makers, like Allah told you in Surah Al Baqarah, but they realize it not. They are so evil, they don't realize that they are the cause of the fitna to begin with. The French orchestrated the Holocaust in Syria in 1948. Look how they plot. They plot 100 years ahead. A'udhu billah. They are so evil, these Europeans. When they plot and plant a disaster, they plot 100 years ahead. Subhanallah. Now you live to see the fitna the French left behind in Syria in 1948. And when it is said, Ayah 13, when it is said to them, the hypocrites believe like the people believe, they say, shall we believe like the fools believe? Verily, they are the fools, but they realize it not. Ayah 13. So hypocrites, they look down on Muslims who believe, and they call you a fool. And the kuffar, if you believe, they call you a fanatic and take your kids away. Especially in places like Holland, France, Denmark. If you have a 12-year-old daughter who reaches puberty and you put her in the hijab, they say you are a fanatic and take your kids away from you. You are oppressing this little girl. Many people in Australia got their kids taken away. Australia, a real Darul Harb. They say you are a fanatic and you are oppressing the kids by putting them in hijab. She's only 12. So not only do they call you a fool when you practice the deen and you believe, they call you a fanatic, a fundamentalist, and they call you mentally ill as well, and try to take your kids away from you. Many Muslims have their kids taken away in Australia, a proper Dar Harb, Australia. Many people got their kids taken away in France and Denmark and in Holland. All these countries are called Darul Harb, land of the enemy. And when they meet those who believe, ayah 14, when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. But when they are alone with their shayateen, they say, truly, we are with you. We were only making a mockery. What Allah is saying in ayah 14, the munafiqun, they have two faces and two tongues. They have two faces and two tongues. Because when they meet those who believe, they say we believe. And when they are alone with their shayateen, they said we don't believe, we were only making a mockery. Allah called human beings shayateen in the Quran. You can call people shayateen, but you cannot call a whole race of people the devils. Elijah Paul, he did this. Elijah Paul, he did that. He called the white man the devil. So he called a whole race of people the devil. You can't do that. That is not our belief. For 60 years, Louis Farrakhan has been preaching the white man is the devil. For 60 years, Farrakhan, what he preached, the white man is the devil. Now, who was the first gay president? The first gay president was Obama, a black man. So who is the devil? You understand? Bush would never legalize men getting married to men. Bush said marriage in America is between a man and a woman. Obama came and changed all that. Marriage is between two men and two women. To each his own. So why you preach that the white man is the devil and now the first gay president was a black man? I toured South Africa twice and they told me about white rule in South Africa. When the white man was ruling, there was no gay marriage and there was no casinos and there was no porn. If they catch you with a porn magazine, you get 10 years imprisonment in South Africa. The white man in South Africa was a narcissist. He won't allow porn in his country. 10 years imprisonment for a porn magazine. When the black man became ruler, he allows everything. He allows porn, he allows gay marriages, he allows casino. The black man allowed everything. But the white man didn't allow these things. White rule. So why you preach the white man is the devil? What about the black man? What about the Chinese devil? What about the Buddhist devil in Burma? They burn children alive. The Buddhist devil in Burma, they burn Muslim children alive. I saw pictures. What about CAR? CAR means the Central African Republic. They burn Muslim children alive as well. The devil is in every race, not just the white race. Because the Prophet said the shaitan runs in our veins the way blood runs in our veins. Bashar al-Assad, isn't he the devil? He's not. He's an Arab. Bashar al-Assad. The devil runs in our veins the way blood runs in our veins. Therefore, the devil is in every single race of people under the heavens. If you think the shaitan runs in the veins of white people but not black people, you are delusional. This is why you, Farrakhan, you were embarrassed and you were surprised and you were mortified that the first gay president was a black man. Now you can find the Newsweek magazine. Farrakhan was giving a speech and he lifted up the Newsweek magazine. Look, it's embarrassing. The first gay president is a black man. I saw Farrakhan speaking and he lifted up the Newsweek magazine to show the imbecile audience, the gullible audience. The first gay president was a black man. He legalized gay marriage. Farrakhan was mortified. Mortified means to be embarrassed. Completely mortified. the Satan circulates in the human being as blood circulates in the body. Yes, this is the hadith. So what makes you think the shaitan is only in the body of white people? The shaitan circulates only in the body of white people. What about the black people? What about Chinese? What about those Hindus in India who massacre Muslims by the thousands? For you to think the shaitan circulates in the body of white people only, but not other races, you are naive, very naive. And your situation is pitiful, appalling, and pathetic, and you are a racist. And the racist is a dung beetle. You're a racist. A racist is a dung beetle. You should stop preaching and say, oh, I'm preaching Islam. You're not preaching Islam. A Muslim can't be a racist. You are preaching Islam, not Islam. Stop telling people you're preaching Islam. You're preaching Islam, not Islam. We continue our dars. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. Why people pretend to be Muslims? For 3 reasons. Why people pretend to be Muslims? For 3 reasons. They come here and Paul talk and pretend to be Muslims. In bold writing, why people pretend to be Muslims? For 3 reasons. Okay, you have found a YouTube video of Louis Farrakhan talking about the first gay president. Farrakhan was embarrassed because he preached the white man is the devil, yet the first gay president was a black man. He was mortified. This is what happened when you are stupid and uneducated. Farrakhan is uneducated. Obama checkmated you by being the first gay president. You are mortified, you are embarrassed because you are not educated. That's why you speak crap. Why people pretend to be Muslim? For 3 reasons. They want to marry a Muslim girl. I've seen this a lot in Trinidad and Guyana. Hindus taking Shahada to marry a pretty Muslim girl. When we take Shahada, we can go to bed with the best of Muslim girls. They brag and boast. By taking a fake Shahada, we can go to bed with the best of Muslim girls. The man who killed Anwar Olaki, when he was in Yemen, they gave him a Muslim woman to marry, and he impregnated her about 2 times. And he wasn't a Muslim. In Yemen, they gave him a Muslim girl to marry. He wasn't a Muslim. These kuffar, they brag and boast by taking a fake Shahada. We come to Islam and go to bed with the best of what Islam has to offer. The most beautiful Muslim girls. The white man who killed Imam Anwar Olaki and brag about it, he said, when I sat with the Danish secret police and they said, what do you want to eat? I ordered pork because I was a fake Muslim all the time. And I ordered beer, alcohol to drink because I was always a fake Muslim. I wasn't a Muslim, yet they gave him a pretty Yemeni girl to marry when he was in Yemen. He got her pregnant twice. The other reason why people fake their Islam, he was sent by the FBI, the CIA to spy on the Ummah. He was sent to spy on the Muslims, so he faked his Islam. And if you ask him to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, he can't recite it. The third reason, to benefit from the wealth of the Muslims. And people take a fake Shahada because they want to be fed. They want you to pay their bills and to buy food, weekly grocery for them. And they think by taking their Shahada they are doing you a favor. They think they are doing you a favor. These are the 3 reasons why people take a fake Shahada. I was able to explain that Surah Al Baqarah has 286 ayahs. Allah mocks at them and gives them rope in their trespasses, increase them in their wrong, to wander blindly. Ayah 15. These are they who have purchased error for guidance. So their commerce was profitless, and they were not guided. They bartered, they gave up guidance for error. Batil. They had hidayah and they gave it up for what? For dalala. أولئك الذين اشتروا الدلالة بالهدى فما ربحت تجارتهم وما كانوا مهتدين. Ayah 15. And then Ayah 16. 15 and 16. They barter. What they barter? They gave up hidayah, the guidance, for dalala, misguidance. And their traffic, their commerce was not profited. They had no profit from their commerce. I'll stop here and take 5 questions. The dars has been recorded. I'll stop here and take 5 questions. Assalamu alaikum. A brother wanted me to ask you about a dream. I was in a big room with a lot of people sitting in white clothes, and I was walking with the Quran in my hands, reciting Surah Al Fajr over and over again. Surah Fajr is the last 36 surahs of the Quran, Surah 89. It talks about the Pharaoh. It talks about the people of the Thamud. It talks about previous prophets who had to deal with kuffar. Surah Fajr talks about the people of Ad, they were in Yemen. The people of Thamud, the people of Ad, their prophet was Prophet Hud. They were in Yemen. And they used to build homes out of rocks and brag about their ability to build. They brag about their engineering skills and their infrastructure. They were destroyed by a wind. Then the people of Thamud, they killed the she-camel of Allah. They didn't allow it to drink. Then it talks about the Pharaoh of Egypt. So, and the Pharaoh lived in the time of Prophet Musa a.s. So Surah Fajr is talking about previous prophets who had to deal with kuffar. Your dream means that The kuffar will plot and plan against the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the way they plot and plan against the previous prophets, the way they plot and plan to kill the she camel of Allah Ta'ala, but the destruction of Allah came upon them. And the Pharaoh plotted against Bani Israel that were living with him in Egypt, but the destruction of Allah Ta'ala came. All these people that were mentioned in Surah Fajr, the people of Ad in Yemen, the people of Thamud on the outskirts of northern Riyadh, on the outskirts of Syria, who were destroyed after they killed the Sheikh of Allah, and the people of the Pharaoh, they were destroyed with the flood. They all tasted destruction after they rebelled against the Haqq. Your dream means the destruction of the kuffar who are fighting against the Haqq. Their end is near. That is the interpretation of your dream, because the surah that you were reciting, Surah Fajr, is talking about the previous prophets, Prophet Hud, Prophet Saleh, Prophet Musa, how Allah Ta'ala destroyed their enemies in front of their very eyes. Assalamu alaikum. What if a brother married a brother, but one of them changed their Aqidah to Haqq? After marriage, where does the marriage stand? You have to invite the other party to change their Aqidah to the Haqq. If they don't change, the marriage has to be annulled, because a brother is a 5-star kafir. If one of them change their Aqidah to the Haqq, it is incumbent to invite the other party to change their Aqidah to the Haqq as well. If that does happen, you have to annul the marriage, because a brother is a mushrik and a kafir asli, because they worship the graves instead of Allah. Is it permissible for a Muslim woman to wear pants and wear a long jacket to go outside? I can see that you are from the USA, because pants in the USA means trousers. Pants in the UK means briefs, knickers. So your English tells you are from the USA. When a Muslim woman leaves their house, she has to wear hijab and jilbab. It is haram for a Muslim woman to go outside without hijab and jilbab. And the jilbab cannot be tight fitting. The jilbab cannot have belt. It is haram to wear belt. Muslim women don't wear belt over their jilbab. The jilbab cannot have elastic in the waist. We have to do a topic called the fiqh of clothing. We did the fiqh of salah and the fiqh of food. We need to do the fiqh of clothing. You cannot wear pants outside the home, which you call trousers in the UK. You have to wear the jilbab over your trousers. And the jilbab has to be loose with no elastic in the waist and no belt over the jilbab. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. My wife seen a black snake in a dream in a room. I was there and told her to kill it. Black snake in the dream means you have an enemy. Black snake in the dream means you have an enemy who is plotting. You need not worry if the snake didn't bite you in the dream. If the snake bites you in the dream, it means your enemy got the better of you. But as long as the snake didn't bite you in the dream, you don't have to worry. Recently, a brother saw himself buying fake US dollars. And that dream is very easy to interpret. You saw yourself buying fake US dollars. That means you're going to be conned. Someone's going to con you. You're going to be the victim of a scam. When I interpreted the dream, he said it has already happened. Why did you delay in telling me the dream? How can I help you if you delay with your dream? You have to rush to tell me the dream for me to help you. That dream of you buying US dollars that are fake, even a 12-year-old child can interpret that dream. You don't need a sheikh to interpret that dream. That dream, Allah gave you a tip-off. You don't need a sheikh to interpret that dream. You bought fake US dollars, you're gonna be tricked, you're going to be scammed. Somebody's going to rip you off. He said, oh sheikh, it already happened. Why did you take a long time to come to me with the dream? How can I help you if you delay in coming to me with your dream? What is the hukum of Sharia about the people who live in Dar Kufr or Dar Harb? Your question is too big. Your question is too vague, and it's too long. Didn't I cover the 4 abodes in a lecture? You are only allowed to live in these countries if you are given dawah. You are only allowed to live in these countries if you are given dawah. The Prophet said, I am innocent of all the Muslims who live between the kuffar, living behind enemy lines. You are living behind enemy lines. Dar al-Kufr is a country in which they don't kill you or oppress you or humiliate you. Dar al-Harb is a country in which they oppress you or incarcerate you or they kill you. That's Dar al-Harb, a country where you are oppressed. Europe and America is Dar al-Harb because Muslims living there are oppressed. You are either humiliated or incarcerated or you are killed. The kuffar may not kill you in their country, but they kill you abroad, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Libya, in Syria, and many other places. That's Dar al-Harb. If your hands are stained with Muslim blood, you are Dar al-Harb, land of the enemy. I have answered all questions. I don't see any. Huh? I didn't hear. Sheikh, one preacher, Imam Mansour, says that liberal Muslims and Dawla are both extremists and that he is the true Muslim, Ummah al-Wasatiyya, from the middle path. What is your comment about his ideology, and do you perhaps know who he is? The Dawla is not extremist. The Dawla is on the manhaj of Nubuwah. It is wrong to call the Dawla extremists because they have implemented the Sharia. The Prophet said Islam began as something strange and it shall return as something strange, so give good news to the strangers. You are not allowed to call the Dawla extremists because they are merely implementing the Sharia and they are fighting against those who have attacked them. So how is that extremism? This person is delusional. He is mixing truth with falsehood because half of his sentence is the truth. The liberal Muslim is an extremist. There is no liberal Muslim. That's an oxymoron. The Dawla is not extremist. They are merely implementing the Sharia. Any more? I don't see any more questions. I have already answered the question. I don't see any more questions. I dreamed that I seen black jinns flying in my room and they were trying to scare me and they were leaving by the window. What does this mean? It means that you need to place Surah Al Baqarah in your home to drive away the shaitan, because the Prophet said any home in which Bagarah is played, recited, no shaitan can enter that home. Your home needs to have more Quran being played in the home. Sheikh, is there any hadith that states a revert that embraces Islam should perform aqiqah for himself? I don't know that hadith. If you can find that hadith, please post it. I don't know of any hadith. When the Sahabas embrace Islam, I don't know of them performing aqiqah for themselves, because Islam wipes out what came before. Aqiqah is for born Muslims. I would like to thank you all for coming, and please donate generously to the Dawah effort. I'll see you inshallah on Wednesday. I'm sorry, Monday. On Monday for the other dars. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. I will now yield the mic. I'd like to thank all the admins who made this dars a possibility.